machine learning and AI are the in things today, and uh, I get a lot of questions online and offline as to how we can learn machine learning and so on.
Yeah.
So you are in this field, and I'm a practitioner, so a lot of interesting things we can talk.
Yeah, sure. And in fact, the objective of this is to help those people who want to kind of get into this field and are wondering, whether they should, number one, and if yes, then how should they do it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the way we would like to do it, and we've discussed this between ourselves, is that we'll try to answer 4 questions over the next 40-45 minutes before we take questions from the people who are watching. And so these 4 questions is, number one, what is data science? And there I need your help, Shivaram, because there's so much jargon around, so many terms that are being thrown at people. So business analytics, data science, and AI, and deep learning, machine learning, and business intelligence, and data analysis. So I think there are enough to cause confusion in the most clear minds, actually.
Yeah.
So that is the first question. The second question we would like to try and answer here is that why is there such a buzz around data science today? Why is everyone talking about it, and what makes it so big and so glamorous today? Mm-hmm. Third question is that should you want to be a part of this exciting domain? What do you need to have in yourself, and how do you make that journey, and how do you become a successful data scientist? And again, Shivaram is sitting here, and he is a successful data scientist by any measure. So I think he should have a good inputs on that. And finally, I think, and a lot of people are interested in that yes, I think I should do it, and I want to be a successful data scientist. So how do I go about it? I mean, what are the steps? What is the next step?
Yeah.
So I think if we can cover these, 4 things, I think we should have kind of put the thing to the people, and maybe they can then ask questions to us.
Yeah. I think they'll be having a lot of questions to ask.
Yeah.
Let's start.
Yeah. So first one, what is data science, and how do you differentiate, and how do you demystify all these terms?
Yeah. So I myself am a practitioner. I'm not just a CEO, and I also have built products on machine learning. I've done research, I've published papers, and so on. For me today, I see in the market different jargons being used. Every company comes out with their own terms, and that kind of confuses people, right? One of the most heard terms are machine learning, AI, and deep learning. So what is the difference between them? So let's start with AI, artificial intelligence, right? So there is a lot of confusion today between artificial intelligence and artificial general intelligence, AGI, right? Artificial general intelligence is like, you must have seen movie Terminator, where the robot knows everything and it kind of goes and shoots everyone and so on. We are not there yet, and that is something called as AGI. Today, AI and machine learning and various other flavors of it are good at solving specific problems in a very good way. Like, for example, let's say recognizing things in image, like for MRI images per se, machines are better than humans, right? So that is part of making non-living beings, like real world objects like this pen, smart. Is artificial intelligence that can be achieved in 2 broad ways, either by putting human intelligence into it, or by data-driven approaches like machine learning, where you use data and ask the algorithm to learn the data and find out the relation between the data, pattern in the data, which is basically machine learning. And deep learning takes it one step further by making it autonomous, right?
Yeah, it learns on its own, kind of.
Exactly, and the feature selection is also done on its own, and various other things are done automatically. So now these are the tools what you have. Machine learning, AI, and deep learning are the tools which you need to use to solve problems.
Yes.
You have roles like business analyst. Business analyst is a role where a person uses these tools, analytical tools, data-driven tools, and so on, to solve specific business problems.
Right.
It can be, forecasting sales, forecasting demand, figuring out how the business is going to do, and various other things which are specific to business. You can have quantitative analysts who will use math techniques in financial markets, right? And business intelligence can be, here it is not a role, it is what you want to achieve using these tools. So all these things, can be considered as parts of this tool set using which you can do all these things, right? And data science sits in between, where you need to have computer science skills, machine learning skills, and domain skills to solve problems. And that's where data science sits, and data scientist is someone who uses all of them.
Yeah, including math skills, I guess.
Including math skills.
Including math skills, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, so the data scientist is kind of the rock star, actually, I mean, in some sense.
Yeah,
right?
data scientist is a rock star. Different people call it differently, and you can't go with the data scientist itself. It can, in our firm, we call junior data scientist, senior data scientist, and so on, based on how much they know. A senior data scientist, we expect a person to know a lot of maths, linear algebra, calculus, and kind of tweak the models, not just use the models, tweak the models to kind of extract the entire thing out of it.
Better.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So we now know a little bit about the different terms and what they mean. But the next question is that why is everybody talking about data science? I'll share my example with you. So we started data science in 2011, as we called it business analytics then. And so we've seen 8 years. I've seen this whole domain evolve. Right. So there was a time when people didn't know what it was, and it was really difficult to even get people to apply to programs like ours. And today, in 8 years, it's gone to the other extreme. So, everybody wants to be a data scientist. So, so there's been a real, the excitement around this whole field is massive.
Yeah.
And you think there's a good reason for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So same journey for me as well. There was a time when in 2010 where I used to build these financial models using machine learning, and I used to go around Mumbai trying to sell it to fund managers and various other people. Though the strategy was good, making money and so on, people were like, "What is this? I don't know what machine learning is. I know fundamentals and I'll go with that," and so on, right? It was very difficult to sell machine learning based things to anyone. Today there is a huge demand from the other side asking, like, even simple things they want to use machine learning.
Correct. Yeah.
And I say, okay, you should not be using machine learning here. Probably you need to write a simple code, to solve it.
Or Excel
probably. And a simple macro, right? And you don't have to use a big gun, right, to solve a simple problem, but still people want to use it. The reason behind the hype is what machine learning is doing is democratizing intelligence, right? We think intelligence is unique. Only humans are intelligent, so on. Machines can do a lot of intelligent stuff today, and that is enabled by machine learning and deep learning, right? So who would have expected cars to drive autonomously, right? Driving on a road in an autonomous way is not a simple task. You need inputs from multiple sensors. You need to interpret. You need to figure out what is the object which is part of the road, and what is the pedestrian. Who is the pedestrian? How the traffic signals change? What does a board mean? Everything. There's so many variables.
Very complex.
Very, very complex. And if it can do autonomous driving, then it can solve so many business problems.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that's the reason why we have so much demand.
And because we've also seen, because when you run an institution, and you have people come they leave their jobs and come to you, so you feel responsible for their careers. So we always feel that we hope that this is not plateauing or something like that, but we are actually seeing that we are just scratching the surface right now. Because every business is now looking at using the benefits of these technologies and tools, AI, machine learning, and deep learning. So every batch we have new recruiters who are setting up teams, and I think that we are at, I would still say, in the nascent stage. I think there's a lot to come.
In
this. And
so I completely agree with you. So at Curl Analytics, we are a product company. I'm CEO of Curl Analytics. I kind of make sure all our products have right amount of AI and ML. So we are a product company. We build products in machine learning space mostly. One of the things what we have seen is, in many problems which were considered almost impossible to do earlier, you can use machine learning and try to achieve something there, right? One of the class of products we are developing is for commodity trading industry, where we are trying to extract information from documents. And here we are talking about an industry from thousands of years, which was mostly paper based, and the information is presented in the way they want, right? Each firm has the huge variation in the set of data, and to extract information in a way, you have experts who have expertise for 20 years to understand how to extract what, because of the complexity.
Yeah, what does this label mean for this company?
Exactly.
And all of that. Yeah.
And we were able to build a product in this space which has a very high accuracy. Actually, external studies showed that our accuracy is one of the best in the world. And we could achieve it by using all the technologies, right? It's not just AI, or it's not just ML or DL. It's combination of various techniques in the right proportion, right? In the right way, which we used, and we were able to get that kind of accuracy. And this is just one of the products, and we have other products like Paras, which can go through huge amount of data. Like, let's say there's a demand for so you need to do demand forecasting, and you have 30,000 SKUs or 50,000 SKUs, which is almost impossible for a person, data scientist, to go through one by one. We have models which can automatically learn those things and do the forecasting, prediction automatically. And we have our own robotics team. We build drones, we build robots, we do research. So all of our drones have vision-based capabilities. They can use computer vision, LiDAR-based data also comes in. We use deep learning models on the edge to process this data, and we use this for basically road survey, railway track survey, and so on. And a lot of these products and everything what we build from scratch. So in that way, we are a high-end technology company. We build everything ourselves, including the cybersecurity aspects of it. And we build a complete product and we go to the market. So these are a few of the things we are doing. We are doing interesting things in algo trading. We are building models for algo trading, as well as some aspects of genomics as well. So you can see there's a huge array of things we do in machine learning.
And the world is even larger. So many things are being done.
Exactly.
And so it's a great field to be in. And so now we come to the next question, which is an important question, which is, who should be a data scientist? Or, you are at a stage in your career. Let's say you're maybe working in a bank, or you're working in sales, or you're working in IT. You have some kind of a technical background, or you're good at math, or whatever it is. And now you are at this stage in your career, and you're wondering that this looks like a great field. Okay, so should I switch? And obviously, these are not easy decisions. So I'll just give you an example. So we get all kinds of people applying to us, which is great, right? So, very diverse backgrounds and differences even in terms of the amount of experience people have, and also the kind of experience and backgrounds people have. So the question again that comes to the mind is that, do you draw any boundaries that, okay, if I have this, this, and this, it qualifies me to become a successful person in this domain, and if yes, then what are these things? Yeah. So I want you to answer that first as a recruiter, and as also somebody who's done this, and then maybe I'll come in and say what we've experienced at Praxis, because we've now seen about 15 batches graduate in these 8 years. So we have some patterns. We do our own little bit of data science. So what do you have to say?
So from my side, there are three main things which are required for a data scientist to be really good, right?
Yes. Yeah.
One is programming skills, right? We think data science is all about learning models. Use these models, and model will tell you something, and use that information to build a product and so on. But more often than not, you'll be working with data, you'll be working with some library, you'll be doing various things for which programming is very much required, right? Programming is the most essential thing. When we do hiring for junior data scientists, programming test is one of the things we do.
We do that,
Yes, we hire from you as well. So programming is very much required to kind of be good at it, because if you want to experiment, so machine learning is an iterative kind of process, right? Yes. It's not like what you do A, B, C and you'll get the solution.
Yes.
You need to do A, B, C, then probably C. Should you introduce D there? Should you introduce E, and so on, or modify, remove one of them? So a lot of iteration goes on, right? And to do that, you need to be good at programming so that you can quickly do all these things, right? And second is math skills.
Yes.
People think math, why do we need math? This scikit-learn and all this libraries in R and so on, which you can easily use,
Correct.
and you don't have to learn maths, and you use a model and you get the solution. But if you think you need to excel, that is, if you want to be best in data science or machine learning,
Yes.
math skills are very much required. Like, for example, I've seen many people who can use regression models, but don't understand how regression works internally. The problem is, if the data set is simple, or if it is easy, you can get away with it, right? But anything complicated, any small difference, right? You don't understand why it's not working.
Yes.
What are the problems? What can happen in the future when you actually use this model in the production?
Especially in different contexts.
Exactly.
Because then if you don't know the math, you don't really know what is happening to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you can't have a black box there. You have to get inside it.
Yeah. And the third thing is the machine learning skills itself. How to use, what to use, when to use. For example, there are hundreds of models, or probably 50 well-known models.
Yes.
Various feature selection techniques, feature engineering techniques, data cleaning techniques. So what do you optimize? Do you optimize accuracy? Do you optimize F1 score? All these things, right? So these are the things which you learn by experience and by guidance. So you kind of do a lot of problems to understand, right? So all these three skills are required, and these skills are developed with more and more practice. So what I've seen is people who read books and say, okay, I know machine learning, unless they have practiced it or done demo projects or simple projects, they don't understand it completely. It is on the surface, right? It's not deep.
It's like reading a book on how to drive a car.
Exactly.
I mean, you can't really drive a car after reading
So exactly.
a book.
Like swimming or driving.
Swimming or driving.
Exactly. And it's very difficult to kind of learn this, and you'll not understand it clearly. But doing simple examples, problems, and probably someone guiding you would probably teach you much faster and in a better way. You would know exactly what to do and learn faster. So all these three things are essential, over which you need domain expertise to solve a particular problem. Let's say you're solving, like I talked about drones, and we're using drones to survey the roads and so on. If you don't have a civil engineer working with you, you will build models which are totally useless, right? He will probably tell you, I want to figure out that distance or this thickness or something, right? And that's what you need. So data scientists should be working with domain experts to build products, right?
Interesting.
And I think now you should tell us what you think is
I'm like, see, when people come to us, as I said, diverse backgrounds. So some of them have programming experience, some don't. Some have done programming in their college or school. Nowadays, school days, a lot of people do it in school. Some have not. So there was a time when we used to, kind of select people or assess people on that basis. So what we have found is that I'm not looking at the softer skills. You talked about hard skills, so it matches very well now. So people who are curious about things around them, right? They want to know more, and how does this work? So that curiosity. So suppose we give them an assignment. So does that create curiosity, and they do something more? So those people, then people who are problem solvers. In the sense of the passion for solving a problem and not giving up till you solve it.
Correct.
So I think this is almost an innate thing. That I love problem solving, and have you seen that people who have these kind of skills, and also, of course, I mean, the whole thing about thinking analytically, again, which you learn over school and college. It doesn't come, I don't think Praxis or anybody else can teach you to think analytics, in 3 months. Analytically. I mean, it's a thing that you develop over time, and surely it can be honed. Right. And then the other thing is, I think, again, something that is now I'm getting more and more interested in this learning how to learn. So there are people who, over a period of 9 months, become better learners because they look at so many new things in 9 months that they realize that if I don't pick up my skills to learn, I'm not going to be able to learn everything. So I think I'm not at all disregarding your background, because a lot of this comes from your background.
Exactly.
right? But I think that end of the day, are you passionate about solving, problem solving, and are you willing to commit time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears? As you said, that practice thing.
True.
I think attitude makes a huge difference here.
Yeah.
So I sometimes ask people in an interview, would you rather go and talk to, 5 people during a day in office, or are you okay sitting with your laptop for 20 hours trying to figure out why is my data, not cleaned yet, and what's stopping it from being, the right kind of data that I can work on? If you can't do the latter, this is probably not the field for you. I mean, am I right? I mean, I don't know. I mean,
yeah. So what you just now told, CP, is the mantra for success, right? In any field.
True. I mean,
right?
yeah, it is.
And in machine learning specifically, because it's a cross-domain kind of thing. It is not one particular domain. It involves huge number of things like programming, maths, and all those things. To learn, one has to put effort, and to put that effort, they should have the right state of mind, right? So, and you absolutely nailed it by saying, a person who is really passionate about learning new things. Learning is something which never stops.
Yes.
I learn every day. I know enough machine learning, but there are papers being published every day which are going to Nature. Paper which is published in Nature means that is fundamentally changing how humans are leading their life, right?
Yeah, correct.
Are going to impact their lives in the future. So, and things like that are getting published once every 2 months, 3 months. So that means there's a huge impact which is happening in the field of AI and ML, right? And if I don't get myself updated, I get outdated.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you were absolutely right in saying learning is the most important thing. And to learn, you need to have the drive inside, passion inside. And those are the soft skills required to get the hard skills, which are math and programming.
Or to leverage them.
Exactly.
Yeah. And in fact, I was told by another gentleman, I was in a panel discussion in one of these conferences. He said that, you need courage to learn new things. And I thought that was a great thing because, because it's tough, right? Learning new things is tough. So you need to have that courage that, okay, fine, let it be every day. Maybe there's something new to learn. I will do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really
so human body inherently, right? Anywhere, wherever you consume energy, we try to conserve energy, right? For example, who likes doing exercise? Not many people like doing exercise because that's hard, right? And learning new things and using our brain power is also hard because we are consuming energy there, right? So similar to exercise, physical exercise, muscle building and so on, brain building up our intelligence is also a kind of exercise which is difficult. That is one aspect. And second aspect, what I see when I started my own company and other things, I was doing introspection as to what are my weaknesses and what is the thing which I fear, or what are the things which I'm not good at, and so on. One of the things I felt was I'm afraid of failure, right? So people are afraid of, what if I fail?
Especially successful people are afraid of failure.
Exactly.
Yes.
And they don't want to fail. It looks so bad, right? So I had this problem, and this was stopping me from starting my own company. So what I did was, I play computer games. I was talking to someone about him. I played a game where I was good at the most difficulty level. I kept doing it, and to get used to failure. Okay. And there was a time where I saw this thing 15 games continuously I lost, and I was still perfectly fine. Then I felt, okay, now I'm ready for doing something. So it is not about when you fail. Everyone fails in their life, right? And machine learning is a highly punishing thing because it will not give you rewards immediately. You need to spend huge amount of time to get those rewards. And once you get the reward is what you need, right? And you have a product there once you get that reward. So it's highly rewarding once you win, but the journey is very tough.
Great. So I hope people are listening, and I think this was almost, I mean, it's actually quite inspiring to hear Shivaram's journey. So now we come to from our side, the last question today that we want to answer, and that is, so for people who want to switch to a career in data science, they have so many options. One is, as you said, they can read books about it and then figure out what it is. Then there are, lots of training programs available. You have online training programs for people who are time poor. Maybe they can't, leave their jobs or other responsibilities. Then there are these, executive kind of weekend programs. Then you have full-time programs, short full-time, long full-time programs, and so many other ways in which you can actually, you know, start your journey towards, getting an opportunity to work in this whole field of data science. So how do you think people should, and of course, your time was different. You would have done a lot of self-study because there wasn't anybody else pretty much who knew anything about
Exactly.
it, right? Yeah, but today it's a comparatively more mature, ecosystem. So I think people should kind of take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So what would you kind of suggest,
So,
advise people?
So let me tell you, I think before the meeting started, I was telling you, we really like people from Praxis, whomever we have hired. We
happy to hear that. Yeah,
we keep hiring people continuously, and they are amazing in taking self-initiative, motives, and so on. What I believe in is anything can be learned on your own, right?
Yes.
But it's going to take time.
Yeah.
It's going to take huge amount of time, especially in a complicated field like machine learning and AI. There are a lot of course material on the web which you can use as a supporting material to accelerate your study.
Right.
But if you are doing a day job, and if you are, or fresh out of college, if
Right.
you want to take a career,
Yeah.
it is very much useful in going into one of the courses like, Praxis or any other, to take that time off full
Yes,
time. So
yes.
so let me tell you a bit about my startup journey. I wanted to start a robotics company. This was in 2012. I was doing it from home without quitting my job, and it never worked.
No, yeah.
That was because I was not full time into it.
So the commitment is also not there, subconsciously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is not just your, creating a startup. It's in everything, right? Unless you are fully in it, 100% in it to learn and grow,
Yeah.
or you are not in it, right? So the full-time commitment is very, very important. So not everyone gets full-time commitment in their jobs. Like, for example, I was working in large companies, Bank of America, Society General, and so on. People in those kind of companies, not everyone gets chance to kind of work on machine learning and AI in their job.
True.
You need to take your time off. You need to study it completely.
Yes.
And learn from the fundamentals and then use it, right? So there are tutorials which says, oh, deep learning, you run this and you have become a deep learning scientist. But unless you understand how the data is done, math, how to use math, all those things, you can't use that in industry.
Right.
Okay, you can use it for your hobby project, probably to figure out who has come at the door and who's belling, who's ringing the bell, and that too you would have copied some model and used it, right? But if you're trying to build something on your own, or imagine if you want to build your own models, different models, compared to the ones which are standardly available, right? That is when you require guidance, coaching, as well as huge amount of self-learning.
Yes.
So you go through a course as well as learn from the web, right? Learn from the internet. And then once you join your job, you continue your learning, right? It doesn't stop there, because it's an ocean. And I feel, though I've been in this for almost 15 years now, I feel there are so many things I don't know, and there's so much to learn.
And actually, it's also growing very, very fast.
Exactly.
And things are changing very fast.
Yeah.
So we have a pretty strong faculty team, but they are on their toes all the time because they need to teach. So it's not about they don't have an option. They have to learn every day to stand up in class and teach what is contemporary today.
Exactly. So I luckily had good teachers who were, like, when I was in IIT Delhi, my professor was one of the guys who had worked on machine learning back then, done a lot of work. He was instrumental in telling me how to deal with data and understand the models in a different way. Without that, I would have been an average data scientist, without knowing how to fully leverage models.
Good teachers make a lot of difference. I mean, we still look back at our teachers at school and all who got us interested in these things. So I think from what we have experienced is that sometimes we get, I interview a lot of people for Praxis. We have a selection process. So I take on a kind of a mentoring role or a counselor's role there, because I sometimes get people who are not really sure whether they want to I mean, the glamour is there. They know there is an opportunity. They know it's growing very well. But again, there is a fit issue sometimes. So, and again, I want your feedback on this as well. So sometimes I tell them that why don't you go and try something online? Download, if you haven't yet done that, download a small, a kind of a module, do it there, do a couple of modules, see whether you like doing this. And then once you start doing this, you will realize how much more you need to know. I mean, and then maybe then maybe you say, okay, fine, now I'm sure I want to get into this field. I've figured it out that I like it. I think that's the time when you commit yourself then full time, because so we have not seen anybody who's regretted leaving their job.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
And I think also the mind space. When you are full time in a program, you're not thinking about your job.
Yeah.
You need. I think you need that freedom to think and also the self-learning, because it's a post-grad program. So it's not just what is taught in class. You can go to Kaggle and do some projects there and all of that. So yeah.
So as you rightly mentioned, it's a combination of self-learning, like reading books. I'm not saying you should not read books. You should read books.
Yes.
I've answered so many questions on Quora on how one should learn machine learning, because I used to get questions all the time. So I went ahead and wrote in Quora and I said, please refer this, the books, the links, and everything. Self-learning is very important, as well as teacher is important, as well as some kind of you can work with your friends as well.
The
peer group is very important. The reason I tell that is because I've seen people who learned fast were the people who were working with someone else, right? That team spirit kind of helps you. So we at Curl create that kind of system where we kind of make our people work in teams. Though it's a creative work, we want them to work collectively and be creative.
Collaborate to create, actually.
And people have their knowledge has increased exponentially. And many of them, like few of the people who got MS seats in US, they didn't go. They stayed back at Curl because they felt the kind of work we are doing is so innovative. The good thing about machine learning and AI is it is highly intellectually stimulating, right? So you feel so happy when you solve a problem. And it is highly rewarding, right? And you can see it, you can feel it. It's robotics, probably you can even touch it. Here you can't touch it, but you can get most of it, right? And it's really satisfying, and that is the reason I myself at home I keep doing it. Whenever I get free time, I build models and I try to learn things and so on.
So good. So, I think I think both of us think that you should. I mean, if you really care about a career in data science and you want to be successful at it, then give it some time. You need to take time off. Give it some time. Work in a place, could be any school, any training institution, where you have people to work with. You'll do projects in groups. You'll have mentors who will guide you. And I mean, that whole ecosystem of learning.
You need to pay your debt, right? 10,000 hours is what people say to become an expert. So you need to spend those 10,000 hours in
somewhere.
In AI, it may be maths, programming, or collectively on ML techniques and so on. It may not be 10,000 hours. It may be probably 5,000 hours or 15,000 hours. It depends from person to person, but you need to put in that effort, right? That's very important. And the future is changing, as we were discussing just before the talk started. Future is changing massively, right? And every day there is new things coming up. Google now said they have quantum supremacy.
Correct.
Which was a big news, and we were all discussing in our office today. Which can be a major technological revolution, which can make AI and deep learning much faster, right? And these kind of things are going to change the way humans are going to lead their life. It may impact figuring out new drugs much easily, figuring out, even people are large companies have invested huge amount of money to cure aging itself.
That's right. They're saying, why should you die? I mean,
so they are considering aging as a disease.
It's a disease.
We don't even know what is going to happen if some cure like that comes, right? What is the impact on society? What is the impact on people? We don't know. And probably that is also kind of people are going to stimulate simulations based techniques they can come up and figure out what's going to happen. And the future I see is very bright for AI and ML. And from my side, from the technology side and research side, there are two interesting topics which I feel are going to impact machine learning and AI in a big way. One is called reinforcement learning, which are used in autonomous cars to drive themselves and so on. They teach machines how to come out with strategies, new planning. So we think humans can plan, now machines can plan, right? Planning and strategy is what reinforcement learning teaches machines. And second is GANs, generative adversarial networks. So these kind of models teach machines how to be creative. So if I ask you, imagine a building or a house or a tree, you can easily imagine because you have seen so many, and you can create in your imagination something special which is not there in the real world because you are creative, right? Similarly, machines can do that today, and that is very, very powerful, very powerful.
Also a little scary, but it's
So things which are powerful can be used for good things and bad things, right? And every technology is like that. Like for example, nuclear technology, you can get energy, you can build bombs. Internet, you can use it for e-commerce, you can hack people and ruin their life. Similarly, AI at one end can cure disease, cure various things, solve a lot of problems mankind has. At the same time, can create dreadful things which we all are afraid of, so afraid of.
Right.
So
yeah, great, Shivaram. So yeah, I think I mean, for all the people listening and who are data science aspirants, I think we welcome you all, because see, you have a choice. Either you be a consumer of all the changes that are happening, or you be one of the creators. So I think it's much more exciting if you're on the other side. And I think between the two of us, we've tried to take you through the process of figuring out a path to getting success in this domain. How do you take your data science ambitions forward? So I think if anybody has any questions, I think we are happy to take them.
Yes.
So yeah, anything else you would like to add?
No, let's take the questions, because let's hear them out, and if they have specific questions that would be more interesting than us sharing our experience. I think we have shared enough experience in terms of AI and machine learning and so on.
Yeah.
Sure. So we have one question by Mr. Kalyan. He's asking, how can a non-technical background professional make a career in data science? What are those initial steps that one has to consider if he or she is from a non-technical background?
Okay, you want to take some?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, a non-technical background is a little vague, because how do you define a technical background? But I think our experience is that if you are good with numbers, I mean that is, I think, important, right? So if you ran away from math in class 11 and 12 because you couldn't handle it, then I think it's a little tough. But if you chose not to get into a technical, I mean, if you're saying engineering is technical or computer science is technical, I don't really know. But as long as I think as long as you are analytical and you're good at numbers and structured thinking, I would say you can even learn programming, because programming is nothing but a structured thinking. It's just going to be a little tougher.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you I think if you join the right place, if you have the right guidance, you can do it. But I'm still not clear about what non-technical means here.
Yeah. So let me add my thing. Sure. So as you rightly mentioned, analytical skills are the most important skills.
Yeah.
When you are building models using machine learning, you're actually solving a problem. To solve a problem, you need problem-solving skills.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Problem-solving skills can be even common sense-based skills, right? You're good at solving simple things, complicated things. Probably you will be good at machine learning, but the only thing is, machine learning is a different way of thinking altogether, right? When you're solving a problem, you say, okay, I know this is probably the way. Let me write a code for this, or let me do it this way, and then I'll solve the problem. Here, what you're doing is, you're doing the same thing, but you're collecting the data and using that data to solve the problem.
Right.
So you're giving the data to the model, and the model solves the problem for you. You are giving the right data in the right way. Okay, so it's a problem solving technique, but with a more powerful set of tools where you can solve much bigger problems in a more efficient way. Okay, so the steps you need to take is first of all, if you are analytical and if you are good at problem solving, I think you'll be good at machine learning. But you need to learn the data techniques, and for the learning the data techniques, you need to at least know how to code in Python or R. Python is becoming the de facto thing now, and then you need to learn some mathematical skills. Need not be everything, but at least some basic mathematical skills, and then start building things and experimenting. It's all about experimenting. Experiment more and more, and you learn more.
So we have another question by Mr. Piyush Agarwal. So he has 8 years of work experience with .NET development.
Oh, okay.
And since last 1 year, he's started learning ML. And his question is, if he were to consider a career in ML job now, how should he approach towards that? Given the fact that he's just started learning ML as recently as last 1 year.
Okay, so Piyush, I'm very happy that you are a .NET developer. I'm pretty proficient with C# myself. So there was a time when everyone in banking was using C#. Okay, so what happens is right now, even though Microsoft has come out with various libraries in C# and so on for machine learning, it is not there yet. Most of the people are using Python to do things. So though .NET Core and all those things are good, it is always better to learn Python. It's much easier than C#. C# would probably take you 1 day to write a product. Here, Python, you can probably do it in 1 hour. I'm not joking, it's very easy. And once you learn that, it becomes easy for you to kind of, build things in machine learning. So if you have spent already one year, so you must have learned various techniques in machine learning. Actually, joining a course will also help you. Reading books will help you. Working on problems will surely help you. You need to work on problems. You need to probably create a group and work with a group.
Yeah, I just couple of things. When you're saying I'm learning ML, so I mean, we don't know whether you're taking time off from your job and just doing that, or are you just doing it as a hobby? That is one. Second, I think what is happening with recruiters, and I don't know, maybe you'll agree with me. It becomes darn hard to get a job if you do self-learning. Because you are saying I know this stuff. But unless you're tested it against other people who are learning it, you really don't know how good you are at that. Yeah. So somewhere I think some kind of formal, place. So maybe you are learning in a formal place. We don't know. That really helps, because then you compete with people around you. You know where you are, and maybe if there is a placement assistance, then people will come with a set expectation that when we come to this institute, these are the kind of people we get.
Yeah,
right. It becomes easier, the whole process. I mean, yeah.
So just to add to your point, right, when we are hiring, especially for our company, right, we want person to know XYZ things, right? We want the person to know everything up to a particular level, without which we can't even hire the person.
Yes.
And a person who's writing a lot of things on his resume, we will do the test extensively. It's not like we reject the resume immediately.
Yes.
But many of the things, if you don't know, like for example, how objective functions are set, how optimization is done. So for us, those are important. For other companies, maybe they're not important.
But some other things will be important.
Exactly. So we need those things, basic knowledge, to be present for us to hire.
Okay. On a similar note, Arav is asking, what skills do recruiters of ML AI firms specifically look in a fresher?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we hire freshers as well. Like we hire from various places. Some from hackathons. We conduct hackathons and hire, because we feel people who go to hackathons are highly passionate people. They're trying to solve problems. They're highly passionate and so on. And we get a lot of people who kind of come to do internship at our place. Freshers, what we see is a typical resume of a fresher would be a person who has done extensive work in AI and ML. You may be thinking, how can a fresher have done extensive work in AI and ML? But we are getting such resumes. We are getting second-year engineering guys who have GitHub repositories, worked on 10 models. We are getting resumes of people who who are like really good. Some person who has published paper on AI, and he's like in third year engineering and so on. So we attract that kind of people. There are like, it's not for everyone, but if you are really good at analytical and programming skills, probably you can do that. You can be a fresher and join, and for that you need to work on Kaggle problems. You need to publish papers. It may not be papers, but put things into GitHub repository where you have coded. It's not like you have forked some library and you're showing that, okay, I've done this. You should understand those things and so on. So there is opportunity for freshers in the market, but you need to be above others, and to be above others, you should have done a lot of work.
Yeah, there has to be evidence of that.
There should be evidence of that.
So I think this is also, fresher word is also becoming a little subjective now. So when people come to Praxis, so they may have 2-3 years of experience in other things, like maybe development or testing or support or maybe even sales. But when they finish this program, as data science, they are still freshers, right? In terms of that, because they have never worked on it in the real world.
Yeah.
So when companies come to recruit, they kind of understand that now, because we have a lot of repeat purchase. Companies come Curl comes every batch, they come and recruit. So then they know, okay, this guy is good and has done this program and knows this and this. So if we test him on these things and he or she kind of passes those tests, then the whole training can start, right? So which is on the job actually, right? I mean, that's what happens. Yeah,
that's exactly what happens.
And we have another question by Tejas. He's asking, does big data development experience help one to get into data science, AI, ML careers?
Yeah. So let me answer that question.
Yeah, totally.
So it absolutely helps, right?
Of course, yeah.
So there are few things which are very important in product creation today. On one side, you have big data tools, big data things which can make your product work on large data sets. Okay, especially deep learning models which need huge amount of data sets. How do you get that data in a proper way, in a timely way, secure way, scalable way? You need big data tools. You need cloud computation. You need to have people who have knowledge about cloud computation. You need full stack developers. A guy who is into full stack would be ideal to learn machine learning. He'll become a rock star immediately. The reason is he knows how to create a web application. He knows front end and back end. Now he has to create that secret sauce which is in between, which is the product. Now he builds the ML product, and now you have everything, full stack as well as ML. I need to hire only one guy. I don't need to hire 3 people, right? No need to hire front end, back end, and the ML guy. And then DevOps guys, right? DevOps is very, very important. Like, you need to deploy your solution in a scalable way on either Amazon or Azure or any other cloud platform to make it usable for the end customer. Right? The reason why you're building all these things is to kind of take it out and make it usable for end customers, people, right? And for people to use your product in an effective way, your product have to be scalable, and you have to use cloud-based solutions for that. So at one end, the data end, you have the big data tools which will help you in managing this terabytes and huge amount of data which like models need. And second thing is deploying your machine learning model once it is built on the cloud-based platforms to make it scalable and so on. And the DevOps people who can make it into microservices and scale it in a bigger way and so on. So, and then the enterprise architects who can kind of design all these things, architect the entire thing. So when you're building a building, you have an architect who tells you how the design has to be, right? Here, enterprise architect tells, okay, this is how we have to build so that it has to be scalable and so on. Now, if each one of them learns machine learning, their skill is going to double or triple. Like, it's going to go exponential, because that's when they can probably do 3 people's or 4 people's job at once.
Okay. That's good to know. We have another question by Mr. Prasad. He says that he has over 20 years of Java experience and wants to move into data science. With the previous experience not getting lost, how do I do it?
So I can tell you about people who with that kind of experience who joined Praxis also. So we've had 18, I think, as the highest so far. So 20 would be another milestone. Yeah. So I'll tell you what, Java experience, and as Shivaram can correct me, is pretty useful, because one is development experience anyway is useful, and then Python, I think, kind of is very easy to learn if you have so much of experience in Java. So I think the issue comes in fitment. Right. So a company looks at you and says, okay, fine, you want to work in data science and you have 20 years of experience. Yet, as a data science guy, you only have, you just learned it. You haven't really worked on it. But I think with 20 years, you would have had project experience, you would have had experience of leading teams and all of that. So, it takes a bit of an effort, but we have seen people with that kind of experience also switch. They then domain, if you have worked in a particular domain, you have some knowledge of that domain, you have to look for those things, that I have either project management experience or domain, because project is useful anywhere. Yeah. So I think,
so let me just add a few things.
Sure.
So we are hiring people who have large experience, like 15 years, 20 years experience as product managers, as project managers, or architects, and so on. And if a person has ML experience as well, it's a huge bonus, because it kind of gives us, we don't have to teach him machine learning. So if a person has to build ML products or services, at the end of the day, he has to know machine learning a bit, at least to a certain extent, so that he knows what are the problems which are there in this field, what are the problems which are there in deployment, and so on. So a person like that, with that kind of experience, learning machine learning will surely help. So yes, it will take some effort. Java, you can do machine learning in Java, deep learning in Java. There are various libraries, but ideally it would be better to build it in Python, build entire solution in Java. The core part you can build it in Python and then interface it. There are various ways to interface that. But if you want to do it entirely in Python, that is also good. So like knowing a programming language very well helps a lot.
Okay, great. We have another question by Ashish. He says he's a newbie to data science with background in programming, and he's got good problem solving skills and analytic skills. He's asking, what advice would you give to somebody like him to avoid pitfalls, especially for a beginner in data science?
Okay, you want to probably start?
I'm just trying to discover what these or figure out what these pitfalls could be. If you have problem solving skills, you have analytical skills, you have programming background, and you're a youngster.
Yes.
All you need to do is get yourself trained in machine learning, AI, deep learning, and all these techniques. So, and you would be a very attractive product today for the Indian market. Globally you would be. Indian definitely, right? So the pitfall is that you don't learn well. That I think I don't see any.
There is no pitfall if you learn machine learning. So let me tell you this way: today, if you know machine learning, you have so many job offers. You can't you have to pick. Okay. So there is so much demand today on machine learning and AI. There is if you are a good machine learning person, you'll surely find a job. Okay, there's no pitfall that way. But if you are saying, okay, I'm building a model, will there be a pitfall in the model? Yes. Like if you don't have enough experience, probably you'll do novice mistakes. Like for example, you'll do overfitting, and the model will not be usable in actual production. It will be best just experiment. But if you learn techniques how to stop overfitting, and so like humans before exam we by heart, right, and go and write the exam as is. Models can also do the exact same thing. That's called overfitting. So you give some data to it, it learns too much, and it kind of answers only those questions. Any new question it can't answer. Okay, so so those kind of pitfalls will be there, a lot of pitfalls. But in terms of career, I don't see, at least for next 5 years, machine learning is going to have a huge demand, and I don't see any kind of pitfall in picking machine learning as your career today. Data science is a career today.
Absolutely. And just a small addition, that exactly what Shivaram was saying, overfitting and a lot of other things. So those are the things that we emphasize when we teach. So the difference is, if you go through a program, is that when you hit the industry, some of these things you're already You'll still make mistakes, right? Because you can't really replicate a job situation in an academic institution. But at least conceptually, all these things, you should go to a place where these things get ironed out to a large extent, so that you may not you hit the road a little, at least walking fast, if not running. I mean, so yeah. So I think, I mean, somebody like him is like really poised and shouldn't waste time. Yeah.
Correct, okay. Yeah. We have another question by Rahul. He's asking, what is the scope for business analysts without a professional degree in data science and AIML to take a plunge into data engineering and data science? But he's a business analyst as of now,
Yeah,
without any formal degree as such.
So it's not about formal degree. Does he know? I mean, it's about also knowledge, right? I mean,
Yeah.
So
formal degree. So today, machine learning and AI can be learned from a smart 12 standard kid who doesn't have engineering degree as well,
Yes.
but who has analytical skills and problem solving skills. So that's what we were mentioning, right? If a person is really good at problem solving, analytics, he can learn other skills, programming and other things, and can become good at machine learning and AI. But if you have programming and analytical skills, it becomes easy, is what we are saying. A person who is good at, who is a business analyst, who knows how to do forecasting of or a business-based decision or things like that very well, has the domain knowledge.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
The guy who has the domain knowledge has to learn other skills.
Yes.
To kind of augment all of them and build products, right? Build solutions. It may not be product or services, right? So make something useful for his company or for himself so that it can be leveraged. Okay, you can progress in his career. So it is not about formal background at all.
Yeah. And the other thing, which we get a lot of people who talk to us on that is that, the industry also needs to recognize that you know something. Because today, if you apply to an opening in this domain, there are minimum 20,000 applications if it's a good opportunity.
Yeah.
Now you are saying is that I was a business analyst and I've learned some of this, I've downloaded stuff and this and that, I have some certifications from Coursera or whatever. Now you are competing with people who have done more.
Yeah. So just to
So that's where it's not just about you knowing, it's also about letting sometimes see, for example, why do you go to an IIT to do engineering if you can? Because you put that on the CV and the people say, okay, fine, if he's been there, he should know something.
Yeah.
Because even recruiters use shortcuts. They're not going to look at all 20,000 people. So, right. So I think.
Yeah, hopefully my guys are doing the proper job and they're not taking shortcuts. So I'll tell you, we had like for internship, for two positions open, there were two positions open. For internship, there were 500 applications. Now we had to bring down from 500 to 2.
Yeah.
Okay, and we had to do several rounds of online tests. And this is just for internship, right? 2 months internship. Normally we don't do 2 months. We are now doing 6 months because a lot of work goes on and so on. But still, it took us huge amount of time to bring that to 2, and that is the level of competition which is happening. So there is demand. There's huge demand in the market. I probably want 10 more data scientists in our company. But do we get good people? Do we have that bar threshold? So just because there are 500 applications, can I hire 10 people? No, I can't hire, because they have to cross that minimum threshold which is there, which we need to hire people.
I think we are almost at the fag end of the session.
Yeah.
There's one question, I think either one of you can take it up. This is by Deepshika Sharma. She wants to know what is it that you would suggest her to build upon if she aspires to start her own analytics firm a few years down the lane.
Okay. That I think I can't answer that when Shivaram is sitting here.
So okay.
So, abstain.
There are so many things you can build upon. Like one of the thing at Curl, what people, like, we have a board of 4 people, and I am the guy who says, "Oh, let's build this, let's build that," and everyone is trying to stop me. Don't do too many things and so on, because the opportunity is big and so on. So as I told you, there are 2 things which are quite powerful. One is on the creative side of AI, where you can use models to do creative things, which is like very, very new. It is in research phase right now, right? So using GAN models and so on. So you can get into a particular industry, which is a creative industry, and try to disrupt that using AI-based modeling, right? Another is strategic industry, like industries where decisions are taken, plan is made, and so on, and use AI to create that. So if I were to start something now, and we are actually doing something there, we are starting a new subsidiary company which is going to into the creative stream. We are going into these kind of things where I think there's a huge demand in the next few years to come, and that's kind of unexplored. It's a new area, and the demand for it is huge, right? Yes, you can build chatbots, AI-based chatbots, but there's already so much competition there. There are a lot of people working on it, and so on. Or probably you can pick a very unique field in chatbot itself. Let's say for counseling patients who are having mental problems and so on. That's very specific, which you can take up and you can be successful. Better it would be to take up a slightly newer field where there is a lot of scope, right? Where not many people are there, and you get a chance to do this creative thing. So yeah.
So I think with that we are completely out of time, but if you have a closing remark, it'd be great for our listeners.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I always tell students that I wish I were, and normally you feel good at my age that I don't have to work for another 30 years, right? It's very, but when I look at this field, I wish I were 25 today, because, it's so exciting. And I think that if you think you can do this, and if you think, and again, I would say that you're good with numbers, you are a problem solver, I think you would be missing an opportunity if you don't, at least give a serious look at this field. I think, I mean,
Yeah.
And a lot of exciting things. See, you can do a job, but a job that kind of makes you do important things, significant things that can change, as he said, the way people live, work, consume, entertain themselves. You are in a domain which is changing lives. So I think it would be, I mean, I'm using a strong word, it would be stupid not to, really look at it seriously. I'm not saying, embrace it, but I think worth a look.
Yeah.
And we are there if you need any help,
Yeah.
seriously. I mean, not just joining our program, but even counseling or mentoring.
Exactly.
So
I keep getting a lot of questions.
Yeah,
I'm always open
yeah.
to take questions on Quora or any other means to kind of guide people and so on. So there's a huge demand out there. That is one thing. So that is one of the reasons why you need to learn. Second is the mental satisfaction.
Yes.
Like, we have a product in genomics which can save lives, right? Now, how many times do you build a product or do some work which is going to impact society, impact the living of people, change the country, the way we are living, right? So for example, I had a very cushy job. I was working in a big MNC, a lot of salary and stuff. There was no need for me to quit, but my passion was, I had a robotics lab in my house. I wanted to do various experimentation. So my curiosity got the better of me, and I quit because of that, and I don't regret it even for a second, right? For 2.5 years, a lot of effort has been put, gone through a lot of cycles, ups and downs, but I never feel bad that I took that decision. I'm very happy because I can use now earlier I was using machine learning only in finance. Right now I'm using it in so many different things. I'm leading all these people who are really smart people in achieving bigger goals. So I'm very happy about it. I want more people to join this kind of journey.
It's a movement. It's a movement.
And I want a lot of people to learn this and take humanity forward.
Yeah.
So
Very good thought. So with that, we would like to wrap up this session.
Thank you.
Thank you both, Mr. Charanpreet Singh and Mr. Shivaram, for taking time off and taking this webinar session. And I'm sure the audience who attended this found it very informative, and hopefully they also begin their career in data science soon.
Hopefully, yeah.
Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.